Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to today's and this week's Tuesday tip at 2. I'm super excited. It is me, Danielle J. Mitchell, your up-and-coming queen of real estate, and I'm like as I was saying, I'm super excited to be joining you guys today because I'm excited to be talking about what I'm going to be talking about, which is refinancing. We're talking about refinancing. What are the benefits? What is that process? What are you talking about refinancing? What is that exactly? So I'm going to briefly during this time, I'm going to briefly talk to you about what refinancing is, refinancing your mortgages, and hopefully see if it works for you. Because if it works for you, then hey, that's what we wanted to do. So what is refinancing? It is pretty much you're taking your current mortgage, right? And at the time that you purchased your house, you got your mortgage, you was excited, you were a new home owner, second time home owner, whatever the case is. And you were like, yes, I'm super excited. And I'm sure you didn't know what any of those numbers were. You were trusting your realtor, you were trusting your lender, and was not exactly sure what the about the interest rate and stuff like that. At the time, you hopefully got the best that you could get, and you move forward with the purchase of your house, right? But as we've been hearing, since COVID, since all that other stuff, number one, before COVID, before quarantining, mortgage rates were really, really good. Okay, still good for the most part, but since quarantine, since COVID, in order to prevent a recession or a crash or anything like that, mortgage rates just dropped, right? And they have been at that low mark, historic low, for quite some time. They are currently starting to creep up, but for the most part, they are still at historic lows, especially for rates for refinancing. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Of course, I'm a realtor, but I just want to touch on some tips for refinancing, okay? And this can help you. I like to get information out there, all things concerning homes and houses, just so you guys can be super duper informed. And I hope it helps you, okay? So let's get into it. Refinancing is a great thing to do. It's a great thing to do, especially during this time, because again, you may have gotten your home when rates were at 5%, right, for a mortgage rate, which was good at the time, right? You may have gotten your home at 4%, okay? You may have gotten your home at 3 point something percent. And maybe even if at the time, it was a good interest rate, maybe your credit score has shot up, you paid off your car loan, you paid down some debt. You may have did some different things where your credit score is better, or even if your credit score is relatively the same, it's just that, again, because interest rates have changed, it may be to your advantage to take a look and see if you can refinance your home to get a better interest rate. And when you change your interest rate, why? Why do we care? Why do we care about interest rate? Because it changes how much you're coming out of pocket for that mortgage of yours. So it's very important. Why? So let me give you some examples. Okay, so say 30-year mortgage. Say and for this example, the house is $300,000. 30-year mortgage. Say you're at 4%. So say that your monthly payment is about $1,432. Okay, so if you refinance, okay, and say your refinance, your interest rate is at 3.25%. Your monthly payment goes down to $1,306. Okay, so you're saving $126 a month. And that is just a 0.75% change in your interest rate. And you're saving $126. That is bonkers. Now, just imagine, okay, with the interest rates as of yesterday, interest rates are at for a 30-year, 2.875. That's the best that you can get. So depending on where your credit score is, that's the best that you can get. So let's say that your credit score is not at 730, 750, 780, where you can get that 2.875. Maybe it's at 700. You could probably still end up around 2.93%, right? Still less than the example I gave you. You could probably still end up less. So for a 20-year mortgage, so say that you've had your mortgage for, around 20 years or so, you can be at 2.625%. At 15 year, you can be at 2.125. The same for 10 year, you can be at 2.125. 2.125. I had to make sure I said it right, because all these points and numbers and stuff like that is a lot. All that to say is you could be at these interest rates right now, today. And that could save you, whether it's saving you 50, 100, a couple hundred. It could save you a couple hundred per month. If you refinance, if you crunch the numbers, you could be saving some money. That's groceries. That's utility bills. That's more to your savings account. It can be certainly beneficial. Now, you want to make sure when you refinance that you're not adding to your payoff, right? So now, if you just bought your house 6 months ago, 8 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, and you refinance for a 30-year, it's like, okay, that's not terrible because you just bought your house, but you just want to, utilize the historic lows, or maybe your credit went up or something like that, and you can get an even better interest rate. Absolutely. And refinance it at 30 years when you just bought your house within the last year or two. Okay, fine, makes sense. But say you've had your house for 20 years. I'm sorry, for 10 years, right? For the past 7 years, for the past 15 years, right? You don't want to refinance and go back to 30 years, right? You want to make sure that how you refinance makes sense. Or even if you just bought your house and you've only had your house for 5 years, but you're like, you know what? The interest rate is so low, right? That I could refinance and do a 15-year and still save money as well as pay off my loan sooner. Okay, so that's another thing you want to consider as well. So whatever you choose, just make sure that you're looking at the time frame, that you're not just being like, yes, 30 years, less payment, makes so much more sense. No, you want to do what makes sense to you. So you make sure you get the numbers of that 20 year, you get the numbers of the 15 year, you get the numbers for 30 year, whatever year you get, you make sure you do the number that works for you. One thing about refinancing that you want to remember is that just for, like with the mortgage, you can shop. You can shop around. You can get different quotes, right, for refinance. So don't just go to the first lender or the first thing that you see in the mail. Do your due diligence. See how much it's going to cost you per month, but also for closing costs. Let's walk through that. We're going to get to that closing cost in a minute. So just refinancing is very similar to when you go to get your mortgage, right? You're going to need, the paperwork that you're going to need is the same as if you go to get pre-approved. You need twos. You got to go by twos. Two. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you need 2 most recent pay stubs. You need 2 most recent W-2s. You need 2 most recent bank statements. So the last 2 months, right? You most likely will need the last 2 tax returns, 2 years of tax returns. So you want to make sure that you have that handy. Do not be afraid, like I said before, to shop around. Okay, just because it's your bank, just because it's somebody your current lender right now, do not be afraid to shop around to make sure that the person gets you the best current rate for your credit score. Once you go through the process of getting approved for refinance, you want to lock that rate in. Okay, your rate lock usually lasts between 15 and 60 days, right? That depends on where you are, what area you're in, your loan type, and your lender. Okay, but you definitely want to lock in your rate, because we don't know, you know, how long these rates are going to last. The rates change daily, right? So hopefully you want to make sure that you're getting the best rate currently. So that's why you lock your rate in. Okay, so you don't want that rate to be fluctuating, like, oh, I got this quote one day and now you're saying it changed. No, the market changed. And that could change from day to day. So if they say you can get it at 2.75, then, you know, most likely that's what you can get for, you know, today. And it's most likely not going to go down, but it could. And that's the gamble. But you want to lock in your rate. Okay, you're going to go through, once you submit your application, you're going to go through that underwriting process, right? The same that you did when you bought a home. Your lender may have to come out and do a home appraisal on the house, right? They want to make sure that it's worth whatever the loan is. 9 times out of 10 it is, right? So if you had your house for 5 years, especially the way this market has been going. And that's the other part about getting your refinancing done. You want to get it done before, you know, house prices change. So if you're a person who's trying to refinance and you recently bought your house in the last year or two, you want to make sure that you get it in case the housing market changes, right? The other thing is, 9 times out of 10, the home appraiser who comes out, that, you know, your house is likely going to be worth more than whatever what you owe on your mortgage, right? Because houses appreciate. So you do get that home appraisal done, okay? They might require you to have an appraiser come out just to make sure it's worth the mortgage amount that you're going to get. And also, you do have to close. You do need money for closing costs, and that's just the fees associated. That's just the fees associated with, you know, you getting the loan. Okay. Now, sometimes what lenders will do, they'll wrap those closing costs into it. Now, also, the amounts that you're going to pay for your closing costs is not going to be the same amount as when you close on your house. So it is not that much. Okay. Definitely not that much that you're going to pay, but there is a closing cost. And a lot of times they'll kind of roll it into your mortgage as well. So you may find a lender that will do that. Maybe you don't have a few $1,000s in order to, you know, close on your new loan, and they might roll it into your mortgage. Okay, but just be careful of that and just make sure it makes sense, right? Pretty much once you've closed on your loan, you have a few days before you're locked in. So typically you might have like a 3-day grace period in case you change your mind. Okay. Now, if you see some breaking news that interest rates have dropped to 1%, then, you know, you might want to utilize that 3 days to change, to back out of it. So if that were to happen. What else? That's pretty much it, guys. I hope that helps. I hope the information I went through helps. I hope it makes sense that refinancing is definitely a viable option to save you money in the long run. They also have some other types of refinancing, and we'll go over that at another time. But that is just the basics of refinancing. Typically it can take, you know, a few days, 30 days, all that good stuff. It just depends on the lender, how long it takes to refinance your home, get everything together to close on it. Okay, I hope that helps. Listen, you know what you need to do. You need to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff down here. If this is helping you or could potentially help somebody else, you need to share this. Don't leave good information just sitting there. Don't just keep it to yourself. Share. That's what we got to do. We got to share. If it's good information, if this sounds good to you, if this could help you or somebody else, share it. Share it. Don't leave it to yourself. Thank you. I appreciate it. Listen, if you want to talk more about this, You won't be talking with me, but I can lead you to some people who can definitely, some actual mortgage lender, because I'm a licensed realtor. What you need to do is go to book.djmrealtyco.com. Again, that is book.djmrealtyco.com. And we could talk about selling. We can talk about buying. We can talk about anything real estate related. All right. That's what I need you to do. Remember, there's no place like home. There's no place like home buying. Thank you guys for joining me again for another episode of Tuesday Tip It Two. Listen, I look forward to seeing you guys next week, where we can do it all over again.